Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to all the new people. I know new people kind of they come on board in kind of fits and starts. We just had a bunch come on here recently, just over the last week or so, really, and and I guess they started coming on before that, but we've had a bunch. So welcome to all of you. It's good to have you here. I want to start off a little bit. I should mention too, some people have asked, and I don't know if I'm not one of these that says that they're playing around with my numbers or anything. I don't really pay attention to it that much, but I've had some people saying that they found that they had dropped off, they had been unsubscribed from me, not through any wish of their own. So you might check and just to see, I have kind of a major project in the wings going on that is kind of a backstop to things like that, but don't know when that's going to be completed. So for now, I would suggest make sure that you're subscribed. If you're not, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, whatever it takes. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to give you the good advice on it, and just keep coming back. Um, Seemed like there was a couple of other things that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, thank you all. I am getting better, and man, the miracles of modern medicine, right? This thing has just done miracles for my cough, and I really appreciate it. I think this is the new favorite time of day and place for me to shoot my videos, at least for now. Uh, I'm, I had somebody, Cynthia asked me in yesterday's video, she says, "My gosh, were you up at 3 o'clock in the morning putting this up, or did you schedule it?" And well, I was up pretty close to that. I'm either an early or a late person, depending on what the things I have to do, and I kind of go through phases in the year. If I need to get a lot of stuff done, I get up early and I get them done. But I find that I'm not creative earlier in the day and when I'm trying to get a lot of things done. So I'm back writing on the fifth book now, and hopefully this will be the last push to get it done here in the next, I'd like to say a month, but I'd probably better say a month or two. And I find that I'm much more creative late at night. So yeah, I am up late at night doing things now. Back when I used to publish Grandmaster magazine, I really didn't get started till about midnight, and that's when my creative juices anyway started really flowing. So I do probably better as a night owl than an early riser, and that's kind of the pace I'm at right now. I think I'm going to title this one, "It's Here," and "Are You Ready or Are You Prepared?" And something just happened today that brought that home for a lot of people close to me. If you followed me for any length of time, you probably know that in my first circle group, we're very heavy on the medical. Uh, I have a lot of people in that first circle are nurses and then also doctors. Um, not the doctor's office nurse, although there's nothing at all wrong with that, but ER nurses, CRNs, which stands for, and I always forget, they tell me, but it's either critical response nurse or critical resource nurse. It's one of those anyway. And these are the people, these are the super nurses. These are the ones who, many of them are ER nurses or were at one time and then went on to the next step of they're the ones when somebody comes in with a stroke, or when they come in on an ambulance with the chest thumper on them, or the great trauma cases. These are the ones that get called in right under the doctor, who knows what they're doing. They're the ones that if you need help, they're the ones that that can give it. And then in addition to that, I have friends who are doctors, both ER and others, from whom I get the majority of my medical information. And this is why, and I've kept up on this, this medical stuff very closely ever since it started. And I haven't talked a lot about it, but it has guided what I do. And I've been kind of waiting for, and we've all been wondering, these people and I, when it's going to hit home in a way that's going to be, shall I say, potentially life-changing. And today it did. We've wondered now. Many of them, I would say the majority of them, feel differently than. How do I say this? They do not agree with the pressure that's being brought on them in certain areas, and I think you all know what I'm talking about with that. So they disagree with that. And they've spoken with me at great length and explained to me. And Kelly is a great one. She has been a great researcher on this ever since it started. And a lot of this stuff I don't understand myself. So Kelly brings it to me and she shows me. And then I check it off with my medicos and ask them, what was this? This makes sense. Is this right? It's certainly not my area of expertise. And they have, almost without exception, said, yes, that's right. We disagree with what people are being pushed into. Well, they've kept a very close eye on what's happening as far as mandates, and especially the medical community, because that's what impacts them. Some time ago, I think it was Houston Methodist Medical Center, that system out of Houston, had announced that they were requiring all of their excuse me, all of their employees to receive this this treatment by September 30th, I think. And so that, of course, raised antennas, and everybody, was wondering, well, it's, when the first one takes a stand, then it makes it easier for others to take a stand. And how soon is this going to come close to home? And they were already talking about, what would they do if it did? Not too long ago, Mercy, which is a huge medical system, healthcare system out of Springfield, Missouri, they cover a lot of southern Missouri and northern Arkansas, maybe farther south. I'm not sure how far down into Arkansas they go, but they're a big healthcare, hospitals and everything else. And they came out with also a directive that they were going to require all of their employees to receive this medical procedure, I think also by September 30. Okay, so that was getting a lot closer to home up here in Kansas City. And I started hearing a lot of conversations and not just overhearing, but talking to these friends of mine directly. And they told me very, very succinctly, they were looking for other jobs. They would leave their jobs. And of course, there was a lot of concern, and people were actually starting to get worried. I know a number of them have set themselves up financially so that they don't need to be there anymore. They'll quit before they will take this procedure that they don't believe in. And but it's there. You can imagine that there's a lot of angst and a lot of emotion in this. A lot of anger, a lot of resentment, many things like this. But they said, we'll watch and see what happens. Well, just today, one of them sent me a news item in which it reported that Truman medical centers, which are affiliated with the University of Missouri Medical School here in Kansas City, that they had announced they were going to require all of their employees to have that procedure done by, I believe, September 20th. And this has just thrown a lot of the people with whom I'm in direct contact. This has thrown the switch for them. There's a couple of things here that are of concern, great concern. The first that I'll talk about is that these are among the top people in the hospitals who are receiving, people. I mean, when you're headed to the hospital, it's because you're beyond a doctor's visit, right? And when you get there, you want the best people treating you. Well, these people are the best people. And they say they're going to be leaving. And these are at several hospitals, because I have friends within the community. And they say, no, not going to do it if it comes to our systems. And there's about, there's 3 or 4 or 5, major healthcare systems in the Kansas City area. And the ones that I speak to are, spread across the board over several. And they said, no, it's, we will be doing something else. And they said they're already looking for other jobs outside of the healthcare field. Healthcare field is standing to lose a great number of their best people. What does that say for the people needing healthcare? Okay, so that's number one. That's a danger. That's going to affect everyone. But there's a secondary consideration here, and it is of preparedness. That, we talk a lot about things coming down the road, things happening, things in the future. And I think a lot of people just kind of play the mind game. Like it's fun to say, oh, if this happened, then I'd do that. And, it's kind of like playing a board game. And it makes for good conversation. It makes for good, exchange of ideas. It makes for, good mental gymnastics. And to some extent, I think it's valid, because I tell everyone, treat everything like a drill. Imagine that it's going to happen. Imagine that it's real. And then say, okay, I've got from now till then, what do I do? And, to the extent that you can, that kind of mental drill can be a positive. But in the back of our minds, we know that it's not real. Okay, well, this is something that is real. It's very potentially real. Now, it's real for the people in that particular system, in the Truman system. And now that it's come into the area, it's you would expect the other systems to put in that requirement fairly soon. Nobody wants to be left, behind, and this is a situation about which there is a great deal of disagreement, a great deal of political disagreement, a great deal even of anger of one side toward another. And I'm not making any statements about that, but it is a separating situation. And now it's here. Definitely here, like I say, from the people in that one system, and potentially now it has brought it home as a reality to the people who work for the other systems. So what do? This thing that was talked about for a year and a half or more, as well, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or whatever. Okay, we'll let the street racer go by. It brings back memories of my teen years. Although our cars were deep and throaty and shook to the ground when we went by, they didn't sound like a bumblebee. Um, so these people now are faced with a reality that they had only played with as kind of a mental game for some time. And the longer that you play with something as a mental game, the more difficult sometimes. I mean, you think that you're preparing yourself for it, but it can get to the point to where it comes to a point to where you start thinking about the thinking as the situation. Does that make any sense? That you get so used to thinking about it that you are involved with thinking, not real planning and expectation. Now, my friends, they are preparedness-minded people, and they are prepared for this, but not everybody is, and it's the reason that I know them. That's what we have in common. And so not everybody is. So this is gonna hit some people up beside the head like a ball bat, and they have to decide now, what do we do? When I've always said that when training meets reality, training gets a big surprise, and the person who has thought that they were all trained up realizes that, oh, they had no idea. It doesn't matter whether it's this or fighting or gunfighting or whatever. The training is nothing like reality. It beats not training, right? But it's not the reality. So these people now have a decision to make. The ones that I know are well prepared, but think about the ones who are not. And now we have people who are in the prime of their professional lives, thinking they're going to leave their entire profession. That's a heck of a deal. How many people, I know there's other people out there that have lost their jobs, that entire industries have gone overseas, have collapsed. So this isn't the first by any means. It's just, it happens to be the one that's happening now, which is why we're talking about it, why I'm talking about it anyway, because I know the people involved. We can each take a lesson from this. No matter how much we talk about the catastrophe du jour, the whatever big thing happens to be popular at the time, when it hits, it's like going through a curtain, right, and going into a world that you barely even recognize from the training that you've done. Now, some will say, well, train to reality and all that. Well, you can train toward reality. You don't train to reality until reality gets here. So I think there's a lesson here for a lot of people, and that is that while we talk and while we prepare, we do that with a sense and maybe with a hope in our minds that this is something that's down the road. Hopefully more down the road than we, down the road enough. Well, sometimes it's not down the road. Sometimes you take a turn in that road and there it is. And there's no time to turn around. There's no side road to take. There it is. And you have to decide what you want to do, and you have to be ready to do that. There are a lot of things that you all know are probably coming down the road. I talk about that stuff more over on Patreon. I keep it kind of nice and easy here on YouTube. But there are a lot of things that we've been talking about that could happen. And it's good that we think about what could happen and to try to anticipate as many of those coulds as we can. But realize that those things, sometimes those things that could happen, do happen. And very often, that could turns into a do a lot faster than you wish it had. So I want to, the people who are having to make these decisions right now are in my thoughts and prayers. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a horrible loss for people in the future who need the skills. Excuse me. See, good thing I keep my medical team here on the table. But here's another good lesson that just came into my mind while I was seeking the advice of Dr. PBR, and that is, so I'll probably forget what I was starting to say there. Another point about prepping is that if this situation drives these people, the better people, out of the medical field, it doesn't affect me at all. Well, unless I need a hospital. But it doesn't affect me because they're in my group, I still have access to their expertise and knowledge because they're friends. They're part of my group. They are my medical team. Okay? It doesn't matter if they work for a hospital or not. They're going to be there for us, those in our group, to take care of things. It's the world at large who is going to be losing out on their skills and abilities. So anyway, I think that was it. A little bit of a warning there. I think everybody should be concerned about. I would suggest you stay up to speed on these mandates through the healthcare industry and business industry and with the schools. Know what you're going to do when that time of choosing comes for you. Know what you're going to do so that you can do it in time. Because if you're just a little bit late, there's no difference between that and being a whole lot late, right? You want to be in control of what's going on in your future for you, your family, those who depend on you. So that's my message for tonight. Things are moving more quickly. And it seemed like I said that a couple of videos ago, that everything seems like it's moving more quickly. Well, this is something that this went from first into fourth gear overnight without anybody really, anticipating it. And now it's here, and now it has to be dealt with. And it can happen like that in the other areas that we talk about and are concerned about and prepare for. So with that, I'll leave you, wish you a good night, and remind you that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and that tomorrow can become today overnight, right? Just like tomorrow will. Well, I'm going to get back and finish my consultation with my healthcare professional here, and go kiss the kids goodnight, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.